Hello everyone, this is Mike Regan from GameRing.com at the E3 Sony booth. We're here checking out Heavy Rain with Jerome from Sony. Tell us about the game, sir.
Yeah, Heavy Rain is an evolving psychological thriller that combines exploration, dialogue, and highly cinematic action sequences.
Now, you said there was 4 characters in the game. Can you tell us a little bit about the 4 characters?
Yeah, well, what I first should say, baby, is that Heavy Rain is highly story-driven. What we wanted to do as a developer is create a game where the story is really the core of the experience. So we're giving players the possibility to interact with the story. Through their actions, they're going to be able to choose their journey. And so we have 4 playable characters. Here at E3 this year, we're unveiling 2 of them. The first one is called Madison Page. She's a female character. She's a photographer. For some strange reasons, she suffers from insomnia. So she cannot sleep in her apartment, and she has to go to motels to find some sleep. And at one point in the game, she's going to meet a character who is involved in the main story, which is the investigation around the origami killer. Now, the second character is called Norman Jaden. Norman Jaden is an FBI profiler, and he's been called by local police forces to help investigate the origami killer case. Now, the reason why journalists and the police have nicknamed him the origami killer is because he lives an origami in the hands of his victims. So this is it, basically.
Did you get inspiration from other Hollywood movies, and can you tell us which ones for this story? Can you tell us what are the other Hollywood movies that you got an inspiration for this game story?
Yeah, so Heavy Rain is really an original story. And it's very cinematic, so from a certain standpoint you could say it's an interactive movie. And of course David Cage, who's the writer and director of Heavy Rain, has been influenced by quite a couple of movies and a few books and few stories. To name a few, I would say maybe 7, The Silence of the Lambs. But I must say that Heavy Rain is, I believe at least, a story that's never been told. It's quite original. So it's taking influences from different other movies, but it's an original story.
Now, they were showing the person's moods and his feelings and his surroundings and how it affected the character in that story. Tell us a little bit about that in the game.
Yeah, so in Heavy Rain, you're really in total control of the character. So you can move around, you can interact with objects, you can interact with the other characters. Something also that's very interesting is at any given time in a game, you will have access to the thoughts of your characters. So it gives you a possibility to know a bit more about the psychological status of the character, but also of everything that surrounds him. So that's quite interesting.
Now, you said that each character has a special ability. Can you tell us a little bit about those abilities?
Yeah, we wanted to have characters that are neither white or black, maybe people like you and I. They have a strong backstory, and also they have abilities and weaknesses. Now, for instance, Norman Jaden, his ability is he has a special device which is called ARI for Added Reality Interface. It gives him the possibility to scan his environment and to analyze evidence on the spot. So he's basically scanning with a special globe he has the environment, and he has a special glass. And he can see things that others can't, and then he can analyze evidence on the spot. I call it the pocket CSI.
How many characters are in the game total? Total actors in the game, the virtual actors in the game?
There are an awful lot of actors in the game. Actually, there are more than 120 characters.
Wow.
So 4 are playable. We have a bit more than 20 characters that are what we call high supportive casts. So characters that have a real important role in the game and the story. And we have an awful lot of non-playable characters, sort of passes by. Just to give you an idea, motion capture work on the game is 170 days, 70 actors. We scan more than 320 people, real people, that are featured in the game, so it's quite crowded.
It also seems that the voiceover work was really well done. How long did that take, and how much voiceover work was put in the game?
Well, actually, and I think this is quite unique for a video game, and maybe in the entertainment industry as a whole. we wanted our virtual actors to be highly realistic, but most importantly, to really behave like real actors. So it took us a year to cast our actors. We casted 250, 300 actors, and we really wanted them to not only be themselves from a body standpoint and from the facial animation standpoint, but also lend their voices to their characters. So it's been an enormous amount of effort to cast the right people and then for them to perform.
Now, when Heavy Rain was first announced, there was a teaser trailer of a screen test of a virtual actress. Is that character in the game, or was that just a test to show the possibility of the technology?
First of all, the reason why we did the casting in the first place was that we wanted to demonstrate to ourselves to start with that we were capable of creating virtual actors. And actually, we learned an awful lot by doing this. We understood that it was extremely important to have a great script. It was important to have a good actor or a good actress, and that to create a virtual actor, you needed also a lot of small details. For example, lighting is extremely important. So once we did this, we understood it was possible to do it. We, of course, continued to work on the technology to perfect it, but it was a really step forward for us. Now, concerning the actress, Aurélie Brancillon, who's a French-American actress, she did a great performance, and yeah, she is in the game. She didn't make it to one of the top 4 characters, but she's one of the leading characters in the game.
Very cool. Now, tell us a little bit about the fighting system. It seems like it's very intuitive, very interactive, and very cinematic, like you were saying.
Yes. As you can see, and people may have seen on the internet or on videos anywhere, we have a system that is similar to QTEs. And I want to be very clear on this. Those are not the old style QTEs. We developed a system that's highly dynamic, highly intuitive, and really wants the player to be in full control of the animation. Also, regarding what we call the PARs, physical action reactions, this system is not a fail or succeed mechanism. When you do something, when you succeed, it unfolds a certain animation. When you fail, it unfolds immediately another animation. And it's not necessarily because you failed on one that you're going to die or that you're going to miss. No, it's a number of actions that lead to a certain outcome. And I believe it's quite dynamic. It works fine.
Now, are there multiple outcomes for any particular situation? So, for example, like yesterday when we were doing the demo, my character died at the end. Now, obviously, there's a way to succeed. Or is there another action other than failing and succeeding?
Every action triggers a different consequence. So yes. Now, the consequence may have a small impact on a particular scene or a very large impact on the global story. So, for instance, when your character dies, well, this has a major impact on the story because you're basically losing the character for good. So all the leads that you had playing him in the past are lost. You can't play the different scenes that he had until the end, so you're going to miss this character. But of course, we have a saving system. You can go back and replay if you want, but we strongly encourage people not to do it because we believe it's important that you bear the consequences of your actions. You missed, or you decided to lose a character, bear the consequences. See what happens. And actually, it's going to be quite interesting. And this way, you may, two friends play the game, and you lost this character, I lost another character, you can discuss that. So each person can almost have its own journey and discuss it with others, and I think this is interesting.
Is there multiple endings for the game, depending on how it goes? I mean, how many endings are in the game?
I don't even know exactly how many endings we have, to be perfectly honest. 2 dozens maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, the number of endings, but I think what's more important though is to say that they are very, very different journeys.
How long is the journey?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer since it really depends on how you play. But we wanted to tell a story that was dense. So we don't want to drag the story infinitely to something that's not, interesting. Also, games are quite expensive, so we feel people need to experience something that have value for their money almost. So the experience, I would say the minimum experience is about 8 hours. If you drag it a bit more and you really play out with all the 4 characters, maybe 12, 14 hours. So that's it. I would say, good average 10, 12 hours.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Game of the show.
Thank you.